27th. So much to talk about with the Vihiga senator, who equally happens to be the chairperson of the County Public Investments and Special Funds Committee at the Senate. Godfrey Osotsi breaks his silence tonight. Welcome to our studio, Senator. It's great to have you with us.
Good evening to you and all the other Kenyans who are listening to me this evening.
Yeah.
I am here.
You are here. And this is Osotsi.
And this is Osotsi.
Okay, it's good to see you smiling, happy, considering the last couple of weeks you've had. It's quite unfortunate that a leader of your reputation had a near-death experience, especially at the hands of goons. But before we get to the details, how exactly are you feeling? Have you fully recovered from the trauma, both mental and physical?
Well, first of all, I must start by thanking God for saving my life on two different occasions. When I saw death before me, and it was a miracle to have escaped death in the two instances. I think God is great, and I want to thank him for also helping me to get healed as soon as possible. Okay. And as I said on Saturday, when I was leaving KTN Hospital, I am back and stronger than ever before.
You're not shaken?
I am not shaken because I believe in God. Yes. And I know God will always be there to protect me.
Indeed, indeed. And we have to definitely castigate that incident that played out in Kisumu County. And that's where I'd like to start before we talk about that crash landing incident at Wilson Airport. What exactly were the circumstances behind that attack? Because we've seen the CCTV footage, and that's what Kenyans know. What don't Kenyans know? And we'll be playing that CCTV footage even as we continue with this conversation. What were the circumstances behind the attack?
Well, it's very unfortunate. When I think about it, I almost shed tears because I had a very, very bright morning. I woke up. I was to have a breakfast meeting with one of my people who work for me, one of the ladies who work with me. She was coming from Nairobi. And when I saw that she was delaying to come for the breakfast meeting at Royal Swiss Hotel, I called her, and she informed me that she had just arrived and she was in town. So I decided that I should have the meeting in town because my time was running out. I had a series of activities in Vihiga County that particular day. So I decided to go for a haircut there in Kisumu town as we wait to have a meeting with her. After the haircut, I went to the nearby Java restaurant where we were to have a meeting. And in the process of us having a meeting, as you can see from the CCTV, the goons came, and I was seated looking at the entrance of the restaurant. And the goons, initially they didn't look like they were going to harm because we are used in Kisumu, and even here in Nairobi, we have a group of youth who always ask us, talk to us. Sometimes they ask for small support. We call them sangwenyes in our political language. So I saw them coming in, and I did not have any fear that they were going to be harmful to me. So they came in, and I think about 3 of them greeted me, and I didn't see any danger. I was on phone. And shortly after, they surrounded where we were seated, and they started kicking me, blows. At that point, I tried to escape, and you could see them following me up with kicks and trying to hit my head, and I fell down, tried to wake up. They were on me. Fortunately, my security, who was doing a transaction for me in the nearby M-Pesa shop, quickly heard the commotion and came. And I think at that point is when they ran away.
So your security wasn't in the restaurant at that time of the incident?
You know, usually, sometimes a restaurant has many people.
Okay.
And you do not want to the security to always be there.
Okay.
But he was in the vicinity. At that point, I had actually sent him to do a transaction for me in the near M-Pesa shop, which is just like 50 meters away. And then these guys came in and did what they did. It's very unfortunate. I know the police are investigating the matter. The matter is in court, but I think it is taking too long to arrest all the perpetrators of this crime.
How many were they in total?
I think there were around 15 in number.
Only 3 have been arrested?
Only 3 have been arrested. And the others are still at large. I want to thank people of Kisumu who are very helpful because they have identified most of those people, those criminals. And it is strange that the police have not been able to arrest all of them. Okay. And yet the people in Kisumu know them as a notorious gang of youth. And even their leader is still at large and is still moving on freely. And I said, and I want to repeat, that the main culprit in this whole thing is one Principal Secretary for Interior, Raymond Omolo, who is still at large. And even today, he went as far as even responding to a statement requested by Luanda Member of Parliament, Dick Maungu, and even making some allegations there. How can a person who has been mentioned severally in a matter be the one to respond to a statement before Parliament? That is the highest level of impunity. You have seen all manner of narratives that have come up on that. But I would like the police to examine the CCTV and see who was there with me, what faces were there with me, instead of the narratives that we are hearing. I'm also concerned that my phone was taken away, and up to now, that phone has not been recovered, and the data is now available to the criminals.
The phone hasn't been tracked?
It hasn't been tracked to date. Can you imagine? And the data is available to the criminals. They are able to access my private data and do all manner of sort of things with it. I want the government of this country that this is a senator who was almost being killed by thugs in broad daylight. And up to now, they are not taking it seriously. So if this can happen to me, what about any other Kenyan out there who are being killed, who are being maimed, who are being injured, and no action is being taken? It is now almost a week. As a victim, I am completely frustrated by the speed of the investigation and even the narratives that are being generated left and right.
We'll get to the narratives in just but a few, but have you forwarded some of this information to the relevant security agencies?
Well,
just the other day we saw you at Parliament Police Station recording a statement. You've said these individuals are known by Kisumu residents. Have you forwarded that information?
You see, it was there even on social media. Kisumu people are so good. They came out and said, even showed pictures of the PS with some of those criminals. And you know, 2 weeks ago, there were some criminals who were killed in Ahero. And some of those criminals are also connected with the same PS. And some of them were killed by the people there in Ahero because they are used for politics, but during their spare time, they get engaged in crimes. And now that's where the problem is. Goons who are being used for politics, and because they get protection of powerful people in government, they now use that protection to engage in crime. And that's why, Jesse, a crime rate in Western Kenya, counties in Western Kenya, including my own counties, the crime rate has gone up very sharply. Every day you hear an incident, but police have not taken any action. You never get to know the outcome of the investigation.
That's quite unfortunate.
So it's not just a political problem. Yeah. It is now a serious security issue in the region. Because if the goons are going to be used for politics, and then they now use that proximity to power to commit crimes, then where are we taking Kenyans? This is a very serious matter, and that's why we are saying, as leaders, I think there is something seriously wrong with the security system in this country, and particularly the Interior Ministry has to be investigated, because this is a serious matter. It may happen to me today, tomorrow it will happen to someone else, who is not necessarily a politician like me. Maybe someone in business or any other Kenyan.
Okay.
And the most important thing is that this is how Haiti started. Haiti started when government started using informal security systems to manage politics, to govern the country. And then this informal security system became a problem to the government.
Yeah, it was unmanageable.
And now this is where we are heading. You hear everywhere people are crying, goons, goons, goons. And the head of goons in this country is one Raymond Omolo.
Senator, you've explicitly blamed PS Interior, Dr. Raymond Omolo. And how do we know that he's the one behind this? What evidence do we have?
Pictures have been given.
Aren't you a leader? You take pictures with people,
let me tell you, I don't take pictures with goons. Pictures have been given where this man has taken pictures with these goons.
So that's all we have?
Let me tell you, he is the only PS in this country who does not use official police for his own protection. He moves around with goons, even in choppers. Even his own office, if you go there, you find the people in the corridors are goons. They're not official police. And this is the truth. Ask any other person in Nyanza region, and even Western, about Raymond Omolo. Even our own colleagues in ODM have complained about him. And the president is not taking any action about him. The guy is playing narratives here and there, but let me tell you, this is going to be a big problem in this country if it is not sorted out.
Okay, Senator, I don't know if a picture is admissible in a court of law.
Not even a picture. I can give you other examples.
Talk to us about that.
Let me tell you, when we were doing Linda Mwananchi rally in Kakamega, he sent goons, 500 goons, to attack us, me and Governor Orengo.
How do you know he's at
Royal Swiss? The same youth come and tell us.
Oh, okay.
Before that, there were meetings that were organized in Kisumu, and youth were being taken all the way from Kakamega, Vihiga, to go for meetings in Kisumu to be told how they are going to attack us. The same day, the following day, during the day of the rally, the youth barricaded Kisumu International Airport, and with the instruction to harm Edwin Sifuna and also Babu Wino and others. Recently, 2 weeks ago, a gang of youth were killed in Ahero, and all of them, the people could identify those people as associates of Raymond Omolo.
Okay, I'll have to sort of give him the benefit of doubt, because you're innocent until proven guilty at the end of the day. But so many questions have been raised, and he needs to answer them in one way or the other.
But he should not be the one now responding to issues that are before Parliament. They should get someone else. Even Murkomen himself can respond.
Yeah.
You cannot be, you are being accused or you are being mentioned in a matter, and now you are the one now writing responses to Parliament. That is the highest sign of impunity, especially where an elected member of Parliament, like me, I'm involved. I am leading people. My people want answers. And when I stand up and say so-and-so is involved, or some clear evidence is given about the involvement of someone, it is important that at least give respect to the investigative process, so that the truth can come out. You cannot be the one now saying now you want to take over the process. I saw him trying, a day after he had been attacked, trying to say how this goon thing is not good for this country. And you could see his body language. He was basically happy. His face, he was happy and laughing. And I want to tell Raymond Omolo that you are the PS of Interior. We have had other people in that docket who are more powerful than you. Hezekiah Oyugi was very powerful than you. But Hezekiah Oyugi did all he could, but he ended up very badly.
Okay, I don't dispute everything you've said, because those occurrences have been recorded. The attack at the Kisumu airport that was planned in Kakamega, as you've mentioned, and the list goes on, even in Ahero, where lives were unfortunately lost. But at the end of the day, the only evidence you've given me, Senator, is a photo and some of these goons alleged that they were sent by him.
Let me tell you, if police do their work,
yes,
they will be able to arrest PS Raymond Omolo.
How do they arrest their boss?
But yeah, that's the problem.
Oh, okay.
That's why if we were in a different country, he would not be in the, once you are mentioned, he will not be in that docket by now. But he's there, he's interfering with the evidence. Even in my case, I cannot get justice because the person who organized my attack is very actively involved in managing the security system.
Okay. You've mentioned 3 out of roughly 15 people have been arrested so far. No semblance of progress whatsoever, even after you recorded your statement at Parliament Police Station.
By now,
yes,
all the 15 should have been arrested. Why only 3? And even the 3, I'm told, they called the gang leader and asked the gang leader, can you hand over 3 of your people?
So the police called the gang leader.
Imagine.
Is the gang leader himself arrested?
The gang leader is still there. Someone called Boy Akoth is still there in Kisumu.
All right, we can't prove this, but it's quite unfortunate to know that this particularly played out, since we'll take your word for it.
And this is not, I say it very clearly, and people must get me right.
Yes.
I said this is not tribalism. It is not a war between Luos and Duyas. It is basically an individual attack on a leader. And those who are trying, because the people of Kisumu have been very good to us. They have been providing information.
All right.
And anyone trying to make it look like a Luya thing, I think that's not right.
That's
even
one
for
of
Raymond,
the narratives.
Even for Raymond, he's trying now to tell people, leaders in Nyanza, please, you people don't talk about my removal because I'm a Luo. Let me tell you, Raymond Omolo was a PS during Maandamano when so many Luos were killed in Kisumu. He was a PS when Raila was almost killed at close range. So he should not turn this thing into a Luo affair, Luo affair. This is a person who needs to be investigated. And I'm saying this as a victim. And I'm saying this because there is overwhelming evidence linking him to these goons.
Fair enough. We've seen other narratives coming up, unverified reports on social media that this attack might have happened due to a personal issue you had. I don't want to mention names or unprintable words right here. Well, what do you tell them?
This is complete nonsense because the lady I was seated with, she works for me. We were seated there planning for a meeting that we were going to have on Thursday of that week, actually the following day, to meet football officials, stakeholders in Vihiga. You know, I support the Football League, FKF of Vihiga. So I had gone to have a meeting for that purpose. This same lady has been organizing many other activities for me, including a trip that I made to Russia with Oburu Odinga a few months back. She was involved in organizing that trip. Now, how can now all of a sudden, because I've been attacked, she becomes it is quite unfortunate. And one thing is that I must say that the police even if they don't arrest those criminals, where is my phone? With the data, private data on it, I need to be given my phone. Because there is a way in which police can track a phone even if it is switched off.
True, and we have the CS mentioning that they tracked Rafael Tuju till his bedroom, you know.
Yes.
So it's
Why
doable.
Can't they do
it's
the
quite
same
unfortunate.
For me? Why can't they do the same?
No,
By now I should be having my phone, because now these criminals have access to my phone, they have access to my private data, and who knows what they are going to do with it.
Okay, it's no secret that gangs operate under the orbit of the political class. How do we stop this culture of political violence in Kenya? It's not the first time, and unfortunate to say, it might not be the last time. Is this special unit going to end this culture of goonism?
The special unit cannot end the culture of goonism if the government itself is actively involved in recruiting goons, in using goons. I can tell you now that the youth who used to work for ODM have now been recruited by this Raymond Omolo. They are even involved in providing security in presidential events. So if we have a government that refuses to work with the formal security system and prefers to work with the goons, then we have a problem. I think the starting point is that the government or any individual within the government who is using goons, that has to stop. So if it stops with the government, then it will stop for every other politician.
Okay, so it's simply a lack of goodwill by
There's
the government.
There's no goodwill by the government.
And it might be a deliberate strategy of intimidation, as your colleagues have mentioned. Senator, you recently walked away from a crash landing incident at Wilson Airport, where you described seeing death with your own eyes. You've already highlighted the whole ordeal, the trauma you went through in a previous interview. But right after, we saw the Senate Standing Committee on Roads, Transportation and Housing launch an inquiry into the state of affairs at Wilson Airport after a request you made. We have a couple of sentiments by leaders, including yourself. Let's just listen in to what was mentioned, a snippet.
You must furnish the Senate, this committee, with all budgetary provisions and allocations toward Wilson Airport infrastructure and regular maintenance.
We struggled to be told what exactly happened, and no one has told us what exactly happened to date. I am in touch with the victims, and some of them are traumatized and hospitalized because of the trauma they went through.
Now, Senator, don't shoot the messenger, but Kenyans were conflicted on whether this push for accountability on the sorry state of affairs at Wilson Airport was a personal vent. Why do I say this? Previously, the Standard, Kenya's bold newspaper, had sustained reporting on the state of infrastructure at Wilson Airport. We do not see any response whatsoever, be it from the Senate committee or the ministry in charge of transportation. Fast forward to the crash landing incident, and that's when the Senate Transport Committee finally comes in. So would there really be a probe without that crash landing incident you were involved in?
Let me tell you, I think if you follow the story very keenly, you realize that about 2 weeks before the incident, I had raised the matter on the floor of Senate in a statement about the condition of Wilson Airport, and raised concerns around security, concerns around general infrastructure of the airport. And it so happened that, ironically, 2 weeks after raising the statement, I was involved in the plane crash. So the committee had actually, even before the crash, had started processing my statement, and they had written to the airport officials, the Kenya Airport Authority, Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, Wilson Airport, and all the other stakeholders. So it was just a coincidence, that it happened. It was not that it was some special treatment, no. It was the committee following up on my statement, which I released
Even
2
before.
weeks before.
So has there been any progress after that committee probe?
I am telling you, even up to now, no one has told us, the victims, what exactly happened. We do not know.
All 39 of you?
39 of us.
Yeah.
No one, even in form of an email, in form of a text message, no one has told us what exactly happened. We are in dark. And you know, every time an accident happens, an aircraft accident happens in this country, they will always say, oh, we've taken some equipment for analysis abroad and all that. Even that, they have not told us. We are in dark, just like the rest of the country, what exactly happened. And you know, it's very painful. The kind of experience that we went through, most of the victims, I've been talking to them, are traumatized. Even some of them even fear using aircraft for traveling. So it is a bad thing that even simple things like just picking a call and talking to the victims and telling them this is what happened, this is what the airline is doing. Okay. No one has talked to us about it.
Have you been to Wilson Airport ever since? Has the state improved? Is there any improvement in infrastructure? Just briefly.
Well, I've seen the contractor who has been trying to recarpet the runway. I think they have improved on their construction speed, but still the conditions have not improved at Wilson Airport. There is a problem with the security systems at the airport. We are told when we went there that even CCTV is not properly working. There is a problem with the runway itself. I know one side is being repaired, but even the other side that is not being repaired still has problems in terms of the quality of the runway. Okay. So we still have, the conditions are still there, and I think anything can happen now. We are in a situation where Wilson Airport is a disaster in waiting.
It's quite unfortunate. The laxity when it comes to being accountable is coming up time and time again. But Senator, let's talk politics now, because a lot has been happening. And perhaps you can start with your party. You're still a member of the ODM party, yes?
Well, I'm elected on ODM. Yes. I'm serving as a ODM senator. They only removed me as a deputy party leader of ODM. And you saw when they removed me, of course there were a lot of legal issues that I was going to raise about the meeting that removed me and the manner in which they removed me. But I made a decision that I was not going to contest my removal because I thought it is going to be a waste of time to do that. And I also thought that is unnecessary because sometimes in life you need to move on. So my focus now, as I've always said, is to help grow the Linda Mwananchi to be a movement of choice in the coming days. And that's where my focus is.
Interesting. I have to talk about the ODM party itself, even before we get to Linda Mwananchi, because some say that ouster was a clear message that ODM no longer has room for dissidents. I remember the party leader mentioning that, you know, democracy does not mean indiscipline. It does not mean chaos. So have you been indisciplined?
Not really. Let me tell you one thing. I was given the position of deputy party leader by Raila himself. And I have not been in ODM for long. Remember, I only joined ODM ahead of the 2022 election. Previously, I was a member of the ANC party. True. But there is something that Raila saw in me. Because when Honorable Wycliffe Oparanya joined government, they were looking for a suitable replacement of Honorable Oparanya from Western Region. And you know, Western Region has many other leaders who could become deputy party leader. Some who are even have been longer in ODM. Okay. But in the wisdom of Raila, he decided that Osotsi will be the deputy party leader of ODM. And there are a lot of things that we used to discuss with Raila. Many people keep on talking, Raila told me this, Raila told me this. I will not go that direction. But at least one thing I got from Raila is that ODM has to remain a people-centered political movement, a party that is there to represent the aspiration of Kenyans. They provide justice to Kenyans and also ensure that the constitution of the country is protected. Constitution that ODM played a big role to bring forth. So I have lived to those traits, and when my party appeared to be too cozy with the government of the day, I thought that that's not the ideals that Raila advocated for, and I differed with them. I also maintained the position that Sifuna, who is the Secretary General, was speaking the real mind of ODM. But when now they started victimizing Sifuna, I said, no, I will stand with Sifuna. And I started saying that even when Raila was alive. If you play the clip of the meeting in Kakamega, ODM meeting in Kakamega, where I said that if you remove Sifuna, be ready also to get Osotsi out. And it came to happen that I cannot be there pretending to be pushing an agenda that is not the traditional approach of ODM to issues affecting this country. So unfortunately, I have ended up becoming a victim of the injustice in the party. And I got to a point and said, fine, they want me out.
So be it.
So be it.
Okay.
Let me move on. And I can tell you that I am spending my energy, my time, and my everything in building Linda Mwananchi. And I think Linda Mwananchi is going to be the next big thing in this country.
Well, before we get to the end goal in Linda Mwananchi, there are those who say that ODM currently is a shell of its former self, because we've seen your colleagues at Linda Mwananchi faction voicing their reservations on this UDA-ODM pre-election agreement, sensationally adding that ODM is being run at State House. What's William Ruto's end goal with the ODM party? Is it all about enhancing this broad-based partnership and getting power, or is the goal to weaken ODM's national influence and reduce it to a regional party?
Let me tell you, we've been seeing what has been happening in ODM, and everyone now clearly understands. I have seen some of the leaders making statements that appear like they are now trying to have the same feeling that some of us had about the real intention of UDA and President William Ruto. President William Ruto is not interested in a strong ODM. That has to come out very clearly. He is not interested in ODM capturing more seats. His interest is to grow UDA, is to ensure that UDA gets more seats across the country and have parliamentary strength after election in 2027. He is not interested in making ODM bigger. That he says in public, but I know his actions do not portray that. And
what actions? Yeah.
It is now emerging that even those in Linda ground are realizing that what we have been telling them is actually emerging now. You have seen them complaining about zoning. You've seen them complaining about infiltration in their stronghold. I think more is yet to come, and you expect them to cry even more. I do not really want to talk much more about them. I think it's unnecessary for me to talk about them. As I've always said, and as I'm telling you now, my focus is on how to build Linda Mwananchi, together with the other leaders in the Linda Mwananchi movement, to become a movement for the future.
Okay.
And that is what exactly we are doing alongside Honorable Edwin Sifuna, Honorable Rengo, Honorable Babu, Honorable Hamisi, and all the other leaders in Linda Mwananchi movement.
I'm tempted to ask about this zoning issue, even though you've said you wouldn't talk much about the other faction, because we had your secretary, not the secretary general, the national chairperson, Gladys Wanga, on record saying that they will ring fence their strongholds and UDA should not field candidates in their traditional bastions. So is this working relationship going to end? What do you foresee, especially on this zoning issue that seems to be an ultimatum?
Jesse, you know, you are really pushing me to talk about Linda ground. I'm avoiding because I don't want to give them any relevance. They have tainted themselves. They have reduced their value over time. And you know, when you invite a hyena into your house, and a hyena starts eating your children and your chicken and your goats, you have no reason to cry why they are eating your children or your animals. That is exactly what is happening in ODM.
Okay.
ODM that we know would not even talk about zoning. Zoning would be automatic, like a place like Homa Bay. During those days of a strong ODM, you would not even imagine another party going to even open an office there, or even see someone in a yellow T-shirt there in Homa Bay. It was just automatic, it was natural. But now, you get to a point where you see our colleagues crying and saying, we want zoning, we want zoning. That signifies weaknesses. It shows that these people are weak and they are avoiding competition. So I think they laid the bed, let them sleep on their bed. We are not, I am not crying for them. I am not crying even a drop of a tear.
Final question on this Linda
about
ground.
what is happening to them.
Do you pick fault when they say ODM will either form government or be part of the government? Because they seem focused on power.
I don't think, you know, even if they are focused on power, they are so depleted to the extent that I don't even think that they have any value they are bringing to William Ruto. I don't think they have any value. If you go to the region I come from, Western Province, you see UDA has taken over the leaders. It has taken over the MPs, the governors, but they have not taken over the people. They have taken over ODM leaders. And now there is no one talking about ODM in that region. And now with the removal of Sifuna and myself, the situation is even worse. A region that used to be a strong ODM area. Okay. You go to Coast, you hear the same cries there. You go to Nairobi, Nairobi being a cosmopolitan city, things are going to be extremely, very difficult with the current ODM in place. So, and even in Nyanza, when you hear people saying they are insisting on zoning, it means they are weak. So I don't think they are calling themselves equal partners to UDA. But I'm very certain in my mind that William Ruto, the William Ruto that we know, may not give them much political capital, even when they sit down to negotiate for power sharing.
So they don't have capacity to ask for the DP position?
I don't know about DP position.
All right.
But clearly you see that there is a problem.
Okay.
Because even the same DP position, there are many other people contesting for the same. Kindiki is there. We have people outside ODM who are also angling for that position. My friend Musalia Mudavadi, my uncle Moses Wetangula is also ambitious to become a deputy president. And now even other regions also outside the ODM strongholds, they are also interested to produce a deputy president. So it is really a decision that it's up to them. But ODM would have negotiated better. One, if they were strategic. Two, if they did not fall into the competitors' game plan. Competitors' game plan was to remove that strength from the party by initiating unnecessary wars within the party. For example, I don't think the decision to remove Sifuna and even myself and other leaders was a wise decision. And that is going to affect them for a long time to come.
Let's see how it all plays out. Linda Mwananchi has a couple of rallies coming up. You'll be in Kisumu this coming Sunday, April 19th.
No, just a correction. We are going to be in Nakuru.
Oh, Nakuru, then Kisumu.
At a place called Mazembe Grounds. We're going to have a rally on Sunday, this weekend.
Yes.
On 19th. Thereafter.
On 26th.
On the 25th.
Oh, 25th, yeah.
We are going to have several meetings in Vihiga County. Oh. We will have a rally at a place called Shamahoho, which is still in Vihiga, Hamisi constituency. And then we have another meeting at Majengo, which is in Vihiga constituency. And then finally, we will have a prayer rally at Luanda Market. So that will happen on 25th of this month. The following day, we are going to make a grand entry into Kisumu to thank the people of Kisumu for supporting us and for having supported democracy, fight for democracy for many years until now. And we'll be encouraging them to continue doing that.
Okay, interesting. Thanks for breaking it down factually. What's the agenda of the Linda Mwananchi faction? At the end of the day, what's the bigger picture? You'll hold rallies, then what?
Well, it's not about holding rallies. We have just had a retreat. We had a retreat a few days ago on Monday, where we were reviewing our performance so far and planning for the coming days, months, and years. And I can tell Kenyans that expect great things coming from Linda Mwananchi. Linda Mwananchi, we decided to form this grouping because we thought that ODM, which was a party that Raila has established for this country, a party that was fighting for Kenyans, a party that was fighting for democracy, a party that was fighting for the ills in the society, had now been turned into a government outfit. And some of us who were uncomfortable said, no, we need to continue the aspiration of Raila Odinga, the aspiration of the true ODM. And that's why we formed the Linda Mwananchi group. And I think so far we are doing very well. And who knows, in the coming days, as I said earlier, I can see, while seated here, that Linda Mwananchi is going to be a very, very, very formidable force in 2027 election.
Formidable force as a party, as a part of ODM. What's the end goal? And forgive me if I'm letting the cat out of the bag, because there are talks that a party by the name of People Renaissance Movement, associated with one of your colleagues in Linda Mwananchi, has been formed. Is this the end goal?
Let me say this. We have our own strategy and our own timing. And we really don't want people to speculate for us and tell us what we are going to do next.
Then give us
when
something.
We ourselves are still working on it. All I can tell you is that we have not reached a stage of transforming ourselves into a political party. When we
but
do
you've
so,
talked about it.
When and if we do so, we will be very clear and make it public that this is the direction we are taking.
Do you plan to vie on ODM in 2027?
That is a difficult question to answer now. I loved the party ODM. I loved ODM. But ODM has now been invaded by self-seeking leaders. Unfortunately, these self-seeking leaders are so powerful that a great idea or sustenance of Raila Odinga's ideals cannot continue within ODM as currently constituted. So if maybe Jesus comes and ODM now starts doing things differently and all those self-seeking leaders are gotten rid of, maybe. But as it is now, if elections were held today, I will not vie on ODM ticket.
Your Secretary General, Edwin Sifuna, said he cannot work with incompetence, quote unquote. As Osotsi, are you willing to work with that Linda Ground faction? Is there any room for negotiation, reconciliation whatsoever, or do you have a similar opinion to SG Sifuna?
Well, I have a lot of respect for Senator Oburu because, you know, he's an old man, he's a fellow colleague in the Senate, and even now we still talk. I was surprised that when I was in hospital, he called me.
Oh, he did?
He was out of the country. He would have visited, but he called me to say pole to me, unlike many other leaders within the party who did not do that. But I think that aside, he has not exercised the authority that has been bestowed onto him. And the party seems to be slipping off his hands. And that's where the problem is. Because there are individuals within the party who are larger than life, who are, in my view, more powerful than Oburu himself.
Which individuals are these? Name them and shame them.
I don't want to name them because, you know, remember I said, it is you who is pushing me to discuss
it's my job.
them.
Yeah.
But I really would want to avoid discussing them because I do not want to give them any relevance at all. Because these are people who have killed Raila's legacy over pieces of silver. And I have no time to give them relevance. If these people are still in ODM, if these people are still exercising immense power within the party, if these people are still controlled from State House, then we have no business discussing ODM.
Interesting. Okay, Osotsi, well, I still have to ask about Linda Mwananchi, now that you've given us the next couple of rallies that will be held. You're not too specific about the bigger picture and the plan, but you've mentioned you want to make it a movement of choice. You want it to be people-centered, and that's where the true spirit of Raila Odinga truly lies.
You know one thing?
Yeah.
When Raila was doing his politics, he used to do many things, which always resulted into some outcome. But every time he was doing it, people were asking him, what is the end game? And Raila used to tell them, a revolution, when a revolution starts, it has no end game. But somehow, it gets to have an outcome. So I can tell you, we are in the same situation. Even this ODM, how did the ODM come about? ODM came about because it was a group of individuals who are against the so-called the
205 referendum?
205, the Wako draft. And they went out campaigning against that document.
Yes.
And then it was somehow a revolution against that document. And somehow they got to a point, and I think I was there in Kisumu, when Najib Balala stood up and said, even this orange can become Orange Democratic Movement. And that's how it became a party. So even for us, I think the fixation should not be on what is the end game. The real issue should be, what are the issues that we are putting across?
Okay.
Are they beneficial to Kenyans or not? And if we transform ourselves into a political movement, so be it. so be it. But we are not yet there.
Okay, let's talk about issues briefly, because you've been quite vocal about matters to do with the cost of living, the excesses by the police, just to name a few. At the end of the day, Kenyans are currently reeling from pain at the pump, high fuel prices. We've had a couple of groups pushing for maandamano come next week if the government doesn't bow to their will. Well, what's the stand of Linda Mwananchi on this particular matter?
Let me tell you
Yes.
very clearly. The issue of cost of living and many other issues were contained in the NADCO report. Then, NADCO was not implemented. Months later, Raila Odinga came up with a 10 points agenda, which he signed in broad daylight with the President William Ruto. And those 10 points agenda, Kenyans know what they are, including cost of living. And we've been getting a lot of promises from this government that cost of living will be managed, it will go down. Now we've gotten to a point where now Kenyans have given up on the 10 points agenda. But this government continues to make the life of Kenyans very difficult through their policies. Now, we have a situation where just before the petroleum price hike, we have had a scandal, what looks like a scandal in the Ministry of Energy. And no one seems to be taking the blame. You've seen the CS for energy, my good friend Opio and I, coming before Parliament and telling them he was not aware. How?
And he's an expert donated by ODM.
How is it possible that a cabinet secretary in a ministry can be unaware about such a huge transaction in his ministry? It's not possible, because I'm sure at some point there was a cabinet paper. That paper was taken to cabinet by, not by the PS, by the minister, the CS. And the cabinet gave approval. And then the PS or other officials in the ministry now implemented. So how can Wandai tell us that he's not aware? Then, even as we struggle to get answers to what really happened, then we are told the price has gone up. And remember, the President, William Ruto, when he was a deputy president during Russia-Ukraine war, under President Uhuru Kenyatta,
yes,
he came out and told Kenyans that the war in Ukraine cannot affect the price of fuel. And he gave an explanation.
Uganda has
and
lower
he went
prices.
away and mentioned several other countries that the price of petroleum has not increased. Now, the same situation has hit him. And now he's giving us the same answers that the Uhuru Kenyatta was giving us, that the price hike is due to the war in Iran. And even that aside, I think it's important this G2G deal has to be looked at. What does it entail? Why did it not have approval of Parliament? This is a very serious bilateral agreement, if indeed it's between two countries, Kenya and those other countries. Why are private individuals or companies involved? Why not an institution like National Oil Corporation or even Kenya Pipeline? Why put their private companies to sign an agreement with the government on the other side? So the G in Saudi Arabia, it's really government. But the G on our side is not government. It's some group of private companies that exist. So how can we be told that G2G is a good deal for Kenyans when the institution that represents the interests of Kenyans, which is Parliament, has not had an opportunity to interrogate this agreement and see whether this agreement is serving Kenyans or not? Number two,
briefly as we conclude,
the issue of taxation particularly VAT. This regime increased the VAT on oil products to 16%. Now, all they have done is just to reduce it by 8%. I would have expected that if President William Ruto really cared about the interests of Kenyans, he should have completely removed the VAT, so it is zero rated. So that now that impact will be felt by Kenyans. Because if you say, today you've increased petrol to 206 shillings, and then when Kenyans make noise, you say, oh, you have reduced VAT to 80%, and the impact is only 10 shillings. We are not feeling it. So the best would be to reduce the VAT and even reduce other unnecessary taxes so that the impact on the people of Kenya, the cost of living is lowered.
Asante sana, Senator Godfrey Osotsi. Unfortunately, that's all the time we had. I hope we'll get another chance to have this conversation even as the Kenya's political landscape continues developing. We're a year and some change to the general election. I'm sure things will get heated. Asante sana for your time.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank all the Kenyans who supported me, who sent me messages of quick recovery, and all the leaders who wished me well. I am here. God is still keeping me alive. And I'm here to serve Kenyans and the people of Vihiga County.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Let's see how it all plays out. Thank you so much. Senator Godfrey Osotsi, Vihiga Senator, giving us a one-on-one conversation. And that's all in terms of that interview. Up next, KTN Prime. I'll be back in a few. Keep it KTN.